Drifting from wakefulness into sleep feels like it should be a gradual thing, like a light slowly dimming down to nothing, fading by soft degrees until the room goes dark. Inside the brain, though, it looks far more like a switch being flipped. One moment you're awake and the next you're somewhere else entirely. And like any switch, it can click over with a clean, decisive snap, or it can hang there halfway, flickering and uncertain. And that half-flipped state is exactly what so many sleepless nights are made of. To picture how it works, imagine two clusters of cells in the brain behaving like two rival teams on a seesaw. On one side sits the wakefulness team, whose job is to keep the brain switched on, alert and watchful. On the other side sits the sleep team with the opposite mission, to quiet the wakefulness side and let you slide down into rest. These two teams genuinely can't stand each other, in the sense that when one of them grows strong, it forces the other one down. They simply can't both be lit up at the same time. That mutual hostility is precisely what makes the transition so abrupt. The instant the sleep team gains the upper hand, it slams the wakefulness team down all at once. Click, you're asleep. But a seesaw with two teams pushing against each other can also get stuck in the middle, balanced and going nowhere, and that's where the worst nights are born. You're lying in bed and you can feel your mind swinging back and forth, a little asleep and a little awake, never quite committing to either side. The switch refuses to flip. More often than not, it's because the wakefulness team is still far too wound up, still churning away, fed by your thoughts, by stress, by light in the room, by that late cup of coffee we talked about earlier. As long as that side stays excited, the seesaw can't tip, and you lie there waiting for a sleep that won't come. There's also a key character in this story, one that wasn't even discovered until the late 1990s, and finding it changed everything we thought we knew. It's a substance called orexin. Think of orexin as a steady finger holding the switch firmly in the awake position. All through the day, it's what stops the sleep team from taking over at the wrong moments. It stabilizes wakefulness and makes it solid and dependable, something you can rely on without ever noticing it's there. Without orexin, the switch turns jittery and unreliable, flipping over on its own at times when it really shouldn't. And here is where a particular illness explains the whole mechanism by showing us what happens in reverse: narcolepsy. Most people with narcolepsy have lost precisely the cells that produce orexin. Without that steady finger pressing the switch down, wakefulness is no longer stable, and the whole system grows fragile. The result is that they can fall asleep suddenly in the middle of the day, even while they're talking or eating a meal. And there's an even more revealing detail. Remember how, during dreaming sleep, the body becomes paralyzed so it can't act out what it dreams? In narcolepsy, that very mechanism sometimes switches on while the person is wide awake. A strong emotion, a sudden burst of laughter, and all at once the muscles give way for a few seconds, even though the person stays fully conscious the whole time. It's living proof that sleep and wakefulness aren't two distant, separate worlds, but two positions of one single switch, and that you only have to remove one small piece for the two of them to blur together. Understanding all of this changes the way you look at your own nights. When you can't fall asleep, you aren't broken, and there's nothing wrong with you as a person. It's simply that the wakefulness team is still riding too high and the switch hasn't flipped yet. And so the worst thing you can possibly do is stay in bed straining to sleep, because the effort itself, the rising anxiety of not sleeping, only fires the wakefulness side up even more, and you end up pushing away the very thing you're reaching for, night after night. You're far better off getting up, doing something calm and a little boring in low light, and going back to bed only when you feel the genuine pressure of sleep returning. In doing that, you're giving the switch a real chance to flip on its own, instead of forcing it to hang there, stuck and trembling at the halfway point. In the next chapter, we'll leave the machinery behind and turn to what all of this is actually for. in concrete, practical terms. What your brain is quietly busy doing, hour after hour while you sleep, with the memories you've gathered during the day.